Hi guys, my name's Leilani and I'm a chef and I'm a clinical nutritionist, and I'm here to make the meals that you love nutrient dense and actually good for your gut, your brain and your body. Why do we want to improve our gut health? The reason is the gut is the barrier from the toxic outside world to our delicate inside world. And it's like if you were a king or a queen of a castle, of your castle, and the gut wall is the castle wall. And it's trying to keep everything from the outside from getting into your kingdom. So you want to make sure that gut health and that gut wall is really, really strong. And how you do that is by feeding the microbes and the bacteria that live on the gut wall, and we feed them up with different fibers and polyphenols, and I'll go into that. Not in a crazy amount of detail. I'm trying to keep it really simple for the everyday person that's really practical for your life. So I've taken the science and I've really simplified it. But essentially, what you want to do is use prebiotics to feed all the different families of beneficial bacteria. And that's what we're doing today. So we're going to make a pasta dish that's actually good for you. All right. It's part of my pasta series, and it'll be with caramelized onions and some beautiful healthy tomatoes and spinach. Of course, you don't have to use these, but the onions and the pasta and the garlic are the main components of this that are gut healthy. And so what I've done, this is a really cheap and cheerful dish, by the way. It's not expensive. It is delicious. And we're going to put it in the oven, so it's really not very hands-on. So I've got onion here, and I've just sliced it all up. And I've taken a garlic, and I've sliced the top of it. And I'm just going to put it in the center there. And we're going to roast this on low heat. But essentially, why we're using the onion is because onions have FOS and inulin, and these are prebiotics that are not digested by us humans. And so they actually feed the gut bacteria. And the garlic's really good for you because it has, it's got all these different anti-parasitic and antibacterial, antiviral components in it. Doesn't really matter about the names, but that helps modulate the gut. So essentially it's like fighting off the bad guys. So that's why garlic is really, really good. The main component of this that is really healthy is the pasta. And I'll show you what that looks like cooked in a minute. But essentially, these are one of my favorite kinds. And you can get them from, in Australia, any Coles and Woolies, and they're everywhere around the world now. So they're a legume-based pasta, and you just check the labels, and the labels have 100% of these varietals and 100% of this is edamame, so it's a soy-based one, a baby soy, and I'm going to be using this today. This is awesome because it's so similar to, it tastes really similar to glutinous pasta. It is not glutinous, there's no gluten in it, but it's got the chew of gluten, and it's got the food for the good bacteria. So with these kind of these pastas, the reason they're so good, and I'll show you another one. There's so many in this range, and you can get all different kinds. But essentially, this pasta is a really strong prebiotic. It's chock full of resistant starch. It's low calorie, high nutrient. It helps with detoxification pathways. It helps clear excess estrogen. It's good mood food. So I try to swap out conventional pasta as often as I can to any of these guys. Doesn't mean you have to always do it, but if you really want the most bang for your gut buck, yes, that's what you're going to do. And then it'll take 5 minutes to cook. So, and also with gluten is very much a gut or digestive irritant, and so it causes inflammation in the gut, And so trying to minimize gluten in your diet is a good thing. Sorry about that. I've got some construction going on next door. There's not much I can do about it. So let's get on to the meal. So we've sliced the onions. We've sliced the top off the garlic. I'm going to add some extra virgin olive oil. And I'm in Australia, so this is the kind here. But try to get your local stuff. And why we love it, it's got 20 different types of polyphenols. And that means it's feeding your gut bugs, but it is also reducing inflammation in the gut. Now, I put quite a bit in. We're trying to caramelize these onions. So that's probably about 1/3 of a cup, which is why I have such a big container of about 3 liters, and I actually go through this quite often. So with extra virgin olive oil, it is so healthy for you, but you don't really want to cook on high heats with it because it will burn. So I'm going to cook these guys for probably about an hour on a low heat, like a 150. So they become nice and caramelized and nice and sweet. And then we're going to move to the next step. Now, if you want to actually add a little bit more flavor to this, you can put in a spice. And I'm going to use paprika today. This is a blend of paprika and chili, but you could use smoked paprika or any type of paprika. And because we're focusing on gut, this paprika actually has carotenoids. And studies show that it can prevent certain disease states like cancer and type 2 diabetes. And anything with kind of a red component to it that isn't like paint colors or Skittles, say like the tomatoes, for example, they feed a species called Akkermansia, and that's really good for the integrity of the mucosal layer of the gut. So it keeps it nice and lubricated, for lack of a better word. So I'm going to put quite a bit of paprika in this because I love that flavor. You could put anything you wanted, honestly. You could put a spice, a herb, anything you want. Finish that jar off. And that's it. I'm going to put just so it steams a little bit more and doesn't dry out in the oven, I'm going to put a cover on it and then keep it for about an hour in there, and then we'll see what it looks like. So I'll see you back here in an hour. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot to put my mushrooms in. So you can put them in towards the end, or I just prefer to put it at the beginning so it's done. So essentially, and you can put any vegetable in this. Asparagus is particularly good for the gut, but it's not asparagus season, so I'm not going to add them. But mushrooms have something called beta-glucan in it, and that is, it really sort of supports gut health by improving the immune system. Mushrooms in general are just such a superfood, and I try to mix up my variety of mushrooms. These ones are Swiss brown. Crimini are fantastic. The exotic mushrooms are really good. So I'm going to add these in now just so I don't have to think about it. But normally I would add them towards the end of the cooking process, and that's why I didn't put it in now. And I'm also going to put in these now. It's your choice whether you put them in towards the end or if you put them in at the beginning. So if I put them in now, I'm going to roast them and they'll become more of like a sun-dried tomato flavor. Whereas if you put them at the end, they're going to be fresh. Now, as you can see, there's all these different colors. And I specifically chose this because the different varieties of foods have different plant chemicals called polyphenols that feed up the good bacteria. And so I've gone for a different varietal of colors. And that's kind of the way that if you like onions, get purple and then get brown and then get white. If you like apples, do the same thing. Mix up the colors because it actually helps feed all of those beneficial families or the different species. So I'm going to mix that in there and let it slowly cook for an hour, and we'll see what happens. All right, we're back. They're looking gorgeous. It smells amazing. The whole house smells like caramelized onion. And so have a look at this. It's just beautiful. They're nice and dark. You could actually leave them in slightly longer, but I'm getting impatient. I ended up halfway through taking off the lid. There was a bit of liquid in there, and I turned it up a little bit to about 170, and I just let them cook without the lid for another sort of 45 minutes. You can see the garlic here. The reason we cut it open before is so we can just squeeze it out. And it is very hot right now, so I'll do that, but don't want to get too burnt in the process. And then this is really delicious roasted garlic. It adds such a nice flavor. So I'm going to mix that through. And of course, what we didn't do is add salt. So I'm going to add some iodized salt. I talk quite a bit about iodized salt, and that's especially when you're having soy. So these are the pasta that we've cooked, and I'll show you in a minute what it looks like. And because it's soy-based, it is good to have iodine to help balance that so it doesn't affect your thyroid too much, and also to mix up the soy products. Definitely don't just have soy milk or soy pasta. Vary it up, and that's really one of the best things for gut health. So I've got some pepper going in, optional of course, and I'm also going to put a bit of, I'll use this one, lemon, just to add some acidity, but also to help with the iron. Okay, so a nice good squeeze there. I'm going to add some fresh spinach. You can add whatever you like. We talked about before adding asparagus, because asparagus has components in it that actually feed up bifidobacteria and lactobacillus. These are very beneficial microbes for you. I lost a bit. So I'll add that. I'm not sure if it's hot enough to kind of wilt it, but I quite like a fresh element to my pasta dishes. Now, if you are having dairy, you could add a little knob of butter in there. That will be really nice. You could also add cream, but in this case, I'm actually going to add some coconut cream. Just to, you can add coconut milk or coconut cream. I had coconut cream. You don't want to add too much. It's kind of just to create that creamy feel. Oh my gosh, look at that. Yummo. Now I've cooked the pasta as per the packet instructions, so it's 5 minutes. The thing with these type of alternative pastas is you really don't want to overcook them, because if you overcook them, they kind of start to break down. So you want to just make sure you get it out right when it says sort of 5 minutes, give it a taste, make sure it's good. But essentially, there's not a lot of hands-on with this. This is put it in the oven, let it do its thing, caramelize, become sweet, and then mix it with your pasta and you're done. So this is the pasta cooked. It's beautiful. It's got this really nice glutinous feel, even though it doesn't have gluten. I'm going to put that in. And I did put, I think one of the secrets to making pasta good is actually to put enough salt in your pasta water. So I put, a good sort of handful, depending on how much water, but I do put quite a lot of salt. You want it to taste a bit like the ocean. And then it just is about mixing it. All right, mix it around and tested it for salt. Now I'm just going to plate it up. And I love cheese on my pasta, but there's a particular cheese that I find is okay for me and my son to eat, and it's an aged Parmesan. So when I'm trying to see where you can see it. I'm going to add a little bit of this aged Parmesan on top. Oh, there's a hair there. Could you imagine? He would freak out. I should tie my hair back, actually. And because when it's aged, it's very low lactose. So if you have an issue with lactose, you can generally tolerate very well aged cheeses. So this one's been aged for about 30 months. And it just gives it that extra little bit of creaminess, but without too much of the toilet problems that go with it. So there you go. There is my gut healthy pasta with caramelized onions and seasonal veg. I hope you give it a go. It's really hands off. And as usual, please leave a comment, like, subscribe. I would love to hear from you, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.